Welcome to Amateur Redneck Workshop. I'm Harold. Today I've got decided to build a forklift. I'm going to take my Harbor Freight shop crane and we're going to convert it to a part-time forklift. So it's got all the hydraulic on it already, and so I figure that'll do the job for me. And of course I've decided I'm going to Mig Weld the metal. I'd probably be better off brazing it with my torch, because I already know how to do that. But so the first part of the video, I'm going to be teaching myself how to MIG weld, and then I'm going to move on and weld the pieces together. I've already learned a few things about MIG welding. Number one, the 20 cubic foot bottle that you get from Harbor Freight is only good for about an hour or so, and then it's empty. So I watched Chucky 2009, and he's my official welding hero now. I don't know how he compares in to all the other welding guys on YouTube, but he's been to school, and it looks to me like he's probably making a living at it. I'm not sure what he does for a living, but I just sort of assumed that. He was talking about these bottles the other day, and he said that that to get your money's worth out of buying the gas, you needed something like a 300 cubic foot bottle. So by way of comparison, that cost me $18 to fill up the little 20 cubic foot bottle. So if I got a 100 cubic foot, it cost me $100 at that rate. And with his 300 cubic foot bottle, you can get it filled up from anywhere from $70 to $110, depending on your arrangement. If you own the bottle, it'll cost you about $130 to get it filled up. If you're renting the bottle, it'll cost you $90 a year for the rent, and somewhere between $70 and $100 to get it filled. Well, that'd be good if I used more gas. I don't intend to do an awful lot of MIG welding, and I don't intend to use a whole lot of gas, so it's borderline for me as to whether the tiny little Harbor Freight bottle is going to be good enough, or whether I should go and pay $90 a year to lease a bottle that I'm probably not going to empty out in 2 or 3 years. I know I'm not going to empty it out in a year, so that makes it only marginally cheaper for me as a homeowner. I figure what I got to do is find some individual selling his bottle and buy it, and then go up there and pay them the 130 something they said they wanted to exchange out the bottle. I think, yeah, it's probably my best bet. But anyway, like I say, I've been working on learning to MIG weld, and I'll show you a little bit of that. And then we'll get on to trying to make a forklift out of a shop crane. Before we do that, though, usually we got a redneck joke, but I'm going to let Bubba rest today, and we're going to hear from Ole. Now, Ole lives up in Minnesota, and it's cold up there, Anyway, Ole has run out of deodorant there, and he goes down to the pharmacy, and goes in and asks the pharmacist, say, where do you keep the bottom deodorant? The pharmacist says, what? He says, we don't sell any bottom deodorant here. Ole says, oh yeah. He says, I've been buying it here all the time. The pharmacist says, well, he says, why don't you bring me the container, and I'll try to get you the same stuff. So Ole says, okay. So in a couple of days, Ole's back in there, and he got a deodorant applicator. It's about empty. Shows to the pharmacist. The pharmacist looks at it and he says, well, this isn't bottom deodorant, this is underarm deodorant. He says, you put it under your arms. And Ole says, oh no. He says, I know how to read what it says on the side. He says, right here on the side it says push up bottom. Well, there you are. I guess I better get on to the welding part here. Yep, we're cutting off stuff again, and the reason for that is I've got that air conditioner up there. If we can zoom in on it, way up in the air, and it's full of crud that's got to be washed out with a water hose. And the way I figured to get it down from there, put me a little platform on the end of this Harbor Freight shop hoist and lift it up there, slide it out on the little platform, and then let her down. And I realized that the platform is going to have a little movement, so I'm going to put a plate on the side of the bracket so that when it's up, I can lean it up like that when I pull, after I've got the, you know, the air conditioner on it, and then as I let it down, when it gets down to the ground, it'll be level. So this is where we start, as usual, right there on the old bandsaw. Okay, so that's the way the little platform is going to be. That red magnet that's sticking up there from the middle, there's going to be a bracket on each side like that to hold it up. And I realize they're a little off center because this thing's going to be made to be a little off center. It seems that as close as you can get that thing to the wall, and I'll show you right there, as close as you can get that thing to the wall, it's like that, because you know the legs won't let it move any closer. So I measured from that little guy over to the wall, and it's quite a ways. I think let me go back and see here again. From the wall over to this guy is actually 18 inches. Right? There's a little slot there. It could come down to that. But if I leave a gap of about 4 inches, I still need to make this bracket at 14 inches over. So it's going to be just a little over, hanging over on the other side, which is all right. You know, it's not like it's going to be that overbalanced or something. And I can always slide the air conditioner right out to the middle of the balance area anyway. So that's going to work out. And when I put the brackets in it, I'll put an axle through it so the thing can swing, you know, where it'll swing back and forth. And I put pins in it where that after I've got the air conditioner on it, I can lean it back and put a pin in it and it'll hold it. At least that's the plan from here. I've got a couple of metal plates bought just for that purpose. And they may be a little bit bigger than necessary, but that's what size they were at Steel Supply, so I bought what they had. And let me get the bracket. Alright, I've got two of these, and they're bigger than I need individually. And I could cut it down the middle and have the right size, but I don't want to bother with taking the chance, so I'll put my hole in here for the axle, and probably the pin will go in one of these holes, depending on how it winds up, or maybe the pin will go in somewhere up here. We'll see that when we get to it. And I need a little handle. Of course, I'm going to have to make a little handle to use to lean it back one way or the other, so I'm not holding the whole weight of the air conditioner with one hand. You know, little leverage. Who is Archimedes discovered all about leverage. I'm not going to try to move the earth. I'm just going to try to move a little air conditioner. And if you're wondering, how's the old redneck going to put all that together? Well, the boss lady got me a Mig Welder for Christmas. This is the first time in almost 50 years that she went out and got straight guy stuff, and she did it on her own. And she brought the thing in the house and wrapped it, and then she called me to come set it off the table under the tree because it was too heavy. She almost killed herself bringing it in. But there it is. Well, today I'm going to try to teach myself Mig Welding. I've already spent some time with the flux core wire, which was really bad. You can see I blew a lot of holes in there getting started, but by the time I got a ways along, I was starting to actually make halfway better beads, and they were pretty much dirt dauber, but They were spattered all over and looked pretty bad, huh? So anyway, sounds like my last piece has got through cutting off over there. I'm going to go up from this stuff, which I think is about 16 gauge, and I'm going to do some 3/16 inch Mig Welding. I got the gas and I got the, you know, the solid wire and all that, so I've heard it's a lot easier. Certainly can't be harder. It does. I did arc welding years ago, and it never seemed like it was that hard to do. But anyway, I made a muddy shingle of dirt dauber nests, and now we'll see what I can do. I'll come back after a while, maybe. Okay, there's my first bead with the Mig welder. I stopped in the middle of it to look at it. You can see where I stopped right there, which obviously is not a good thing to do. And then I finished it off, and it's kind of piled on top, and it didn't go through. There's I would have to guess no penetration there at all. There, if I can get a look at it here, yeah, it looks like there's really no penetration there at all, and it'll probably bend pretty easy, but it sure is a lot nicer without all that spattering. So I like that part. I'm going to see if I can bend it. I'll come back. Okay, so just for grins, we've got it in the vise. If I can walk around this pile of junk to get there. Alright, we'll try to bend it, just see how quick it breaks. Well, that's a lot harder than I thought. So, this isn't as much fun as they said it was. Chucky 2009 made it look real easy. Yeah. I always like to watch Chucky 2009's welding stuff. See how it's not through, it's just hanging in there. But it's dang tough stuff, you know, even at that. So I'll separate that and go weld it again. Huh. Anyway, I always like to watch Chucky 2009 welding stuff. He seems to be able to do it just fine. The main thing I like is his enthusiasm. You know, he just, I don't know, I just like to watch an enthusiastic young guy like that, and he's full of it, you know. Alright, this is my second weld, and let's turn it over here. And I really like the fact that this doesn't splatter a bunch, and it looks like it's going to be a great deal easier to use once I get everything worked out. There's still no penetration there. There's more than there was because I cut a nice V down the side, but I think I crammed them too close together. So I'm going to go back and make a couple more little coupons, and I can mess them up faster than I can cut them over there. It's all been running pretty steady now. And I changed my table. Instead of that piece of square tubing, I got a 1/2 by 6 inch piece of steel. It's not, it's certainly not Tom Lipton quality, but you know, it's what I got, and it's better than that square tubing. I got to thinking I was probably going to weld it to the tubing, or you know, blow a hole in the tubing. This will work better. I did stick one side of it to that already, so we'll go and cut another couple coupons and try again. Aha! Eat your heart out, Chucky 2009. I'm starting to get penetration. Not much, not really good, but by golly, that's the third weld. And if I keep this up all day, I bet I start turning out good stuff. So, back to the drawing board. I always lose my glasses somewhere, or else I'd always lose my glasses case. So I got this kind of a case so I could put it in my pocket. You know, see, right there in my pocket. And that kept me from losing the glasses case. But the next thing you know, these suckers were laying somewhere, and I just spent 10 minutes a while ago finding them, and they were within a foot of me. Poor old guys never can win. Alright, here we go with weld number 4, and it's actually starting to get a little bit of penetration there. Looking at the top, I'm not sure. Am I going too fast or what? I'm not sure. Or maybe I don't have enough rod feeding in. Maybe the rod's not feeding in fast enough to melt through to the back all the way. They tell me the speed of the rod is what develops the heat. So I'm going to crank the rod up a little bit more, and we'll make another weld down here on the end, and we'll see how that comes out. Well, this is the last one I'm going to come running to show Mommy until I work something out, but I'm getting closer and closer to proper penetration there. I was a little too slow and a little too fast, both on that other side there, but eventually I think it's going to get there. And I'm not going to show you anymore till I get it worked out, because I'm sure this is starting to be boring. Alright, so I've practiced to get sort of reasonably bad at welding with this thing. And Chucky 2009's Empire, his welding empire, is safe for the time being. Actually, probably forever. So we get on with this thing and try and tack all this stuff together so it'll stay. There's going to be just more of that right there, so I'm going to turn off the camera, and then I'll come back at a strategic point later.